The testimonies featured on this channel are presented as received, reflecting the personal experience and perspectives of the individuals who have generously shared them with us. We encourage our viewers to approach these testimonies with compassion and understanding, as these are personal testimonies of people involved. We also encourage you to always refer to the Holy Bible and the teachings of Jesus Christ and his apostles for guidance. You can consider subscribing to the channel to help promote this ministry. In every part of the world, stories are told. Some are passed down from grandparents to grandchildren. Others are written in books, buried in history. But every now and then, a story appears that shakes our understanding of life and eternity. A story so intense, so disturbing, and so real, it cannot be ignored. This is the story of Imam Rashid. He was a devout Muslim, a respected imam in his local mosque. Born in the Middle East, raised in the teachings of Islam, and later moved to Europe, Imam Rashid was seen as a pillar of wisdom in his Muslim community. He preached 5 times a day, taught children how to recite the Quran, and spent his evenings answering questions from the faithful. But one day, something happened, something so terrifying and strange. It changed his life forever. Imam Rashid died. His body stopped. His heart failed. He was gone, but he came back. And when he returned, he was no longer the same man. He had seen something on the other side, something that shattered his beliefs, something that shook him to the core. He saw a place so dark, so painful, so hopeless, it can only be described as hell. And there, he met someone he never expected, Jesus Christ. What happened next is not just a story, it's a warning. Let's hear from Imam Rashid.
My name is Rashid. I was born in Syria. I grew up in a very religious Muslim family. My father was an imam. My grandfather was an imam, so it was expected that I would follow in their steps. And I did. By the time I was 24, I had memorized the entire Quran. I knew the hadiths by heart. I led prayers at the mosque, gave sermons, and debated with Christians, Jews, even atheists. I thought I had the truth. I believed with all my heart that Islam was the only way. After the war in Syria, I fled to Europe with my wife and 2 sons. We found a new life in a small city in Germany. The Muslim community welcomed me, and I became the imam at a local mosque. I worked with refugees, helped families adjust, and taught Islam with passion. Life was good, peaceful, but then everything changed. One night I was alone in my study. I had been fasting all day, preparing for a special Friday sermon. I remember feeling weak. My chest started to hurt. I thought it was just from fasting, but then the pain grew sharp. I fell to the ground, couldn't breathe. My vision turned black. I died. I know many won't believe this. I wouldn't have believed it myself. But what happened next, I can never forget. I was standing in darkness, a darkness deeper than anything I had ever known. I couldn't see the ground. I couldn't see the sky. It was just emptiness. Then I heard voices, screaming, crying, begging. It was horrifying. I turned around and I saw a pit, a massive pit of fire. People were falling into it, men, women, old people, young people. Their skin was burning, but they didn't die. They just kept screaming. I saw men in long white robes. I recognized some of them. They were scholars, religious leaders, people I admired. I even saw 2 men I had studied with in my early years of Islamic training. One of them looked at me and shouted my name. Rashid, don't come here. Then I heard a voice. It was strong but gentle, like thunder but also like the wind. I turned, and I saw a man dressed in white, glowing with light. His eyes pierced through me. He walked toward me. I knew immediately who it was. It was Jesus. Yes, Jesus. The one I had always denied as the Son of God. The one I used to say was just a prophet. But here he was standing in glory. I fell to the ground. I couldn't stand in front of him. My whole life flashed before me. All my prayers, all my arguments, all my anger toward Christians. All of it meant nothing. Jesus looked at me and said, Rashid, why have you rejected me all your life? I couldn't answer. I just wept. I felt shame, fear. guilt. Then he said, "Come, I want to show you something." He took me by the hand, and suddenly, we were walking toward that pit. The smell of burning flesh filled my nose. The heat was unbearable, covered my face. I cried. Then Jesus pointed, and I saw something that made my heart stop. It was a massive group of people, millions upon millions, and they were all Muslims. I recognized their dress, their prayers. They were crying out to Allah, but no answer came. They shouted the Shahada, but it was too late. I cried, "Why are they here? These are good people. They prayed. They fasted. They believed in you as a prophet." Jesus looked at me with sadness in his eyes. He said, "They rejected me as the Son of God. They rejected the cross. They trusted in their own works, but no one comes to the Father except through me." Then he said something that shook me to the core. "There is no Muslim in heaven." I cried like a child. My legs gave way. I fell. I wept. I begged him, "Please, please let me go back. Let me tell them. Let me warn them." Jesus looked at me again. Then he said, "I'm giving you one chance, Rashid. Go back. Tell them the truth. Tell them I am the way, the truth, and the life. Tell them I love them. But they must come to me." Then everything went dark again. When I opened my eyes, I was in a hospital bed. The doctors said I had been dead for 12 minutes. My heart had stopped. They were about to declare me gone when suddenly, it started again. My wife was beside me. She cried and hugged me, but I was still crying. Not from pain, but from what I had seen. The next day, I went back to the mosque. I stood before the people. I told them what I had seen. I told them that Jesus is the only way, that there is no Muslim in heaven. At first, they thought I was joking, but when they saw I was serious, everything changed. They shouted at me, called me a traitor, an infidel, a liar. The mosque committee removed me. My closest friends turned their backs on me. Even some of my relatives in Syria disowned me. Then came the threats. Men I had prayed with now wanted to kill me. I received letters, messages, warnings. "If you speak again, we will finish you." My wife was terrified. My sons were confused. We had to leave our home. We went into hiding, but I couldn't stay silent. How could I? I had seen the truth. I had seen hell. I had seen Jesus, and I had to speak. When I lost everything, I thought that was the end. My community hated me. My reputation was destroyed. My family was in danger. But something had changed inside me, and it could not be reversed. I had met Jesus, and once you meet him, not in a book, not in a debate, not as an idea, but as a real person full of power and love, you are never the same again. After we left our home, we stayed in a small shelter for refugees on the edge of town. It was cold. My sons cried at night. My wife looked at me with pain in her eyes, not because she didn't believe me, but because she didn't know what would happen next. For the first few weeks, I was silent. I didn't eat much. I prayed to Jesus, but I didn't even know how to pray. I had spent my whole life facing Mecca, reciting Arabic, doing rituals. But now, I had no script, no pattern. All I had was tears. I remember one night, I sat alone in the bathroom, the only place where I could be completely alone. I looked at myself in the mirror and said, "What have you done? Have you lost your mind? Or have you found the truth?" Suddenly, I felt a presence in the room, gentle, peaceful, warm. I heard a whisper in my spirit, not a loud voice, not anything from outside, but deep inside, "I am with you. Do not be afraid." I wept like a child again. In that tiny bathroom, I gave Jesus my whole heart. I said, "I believe in you. I don't know what to do next. I don't know how to live, but I know you are real. I trust you." And that night, something new was born in me. The next morning, I woke up with a strange peace. The fear was still there. The persecution was still real. But inside, there was peace, like a still river running through my chest. I found a small Bible that a Christian friend had once given me years ago, which I had never read. It was in Arabic. I opened it and began reading the book of John. The words hit me like fire. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. I had memorized Quranic texts my whole life, but these words were different. They were alive. They were full of power and love. I kept reading. Then I reached John 14 verse 6. I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. Tears fell from my eyes. That was exactly what Jesus told me when I was dead. It wasn't a dream. It wasn't a delusion. This was real. I began reading the New Testament day and night. Couldn't stop. It was like I was starving, and these words were feeding my soul. Meanwhile, the persecution grew worse. Word had spread that the former Imam had converted to Christianity. People sent threats to the refugee center. A group of Muslim men came one night looking for me. Thank God, I was not there. We had to flee again, this time to another city, where no one knew us. It was during this time that I connected with a small underground house church. I will never forget the first time I entered that room. It was in the basement of a quiet building. Just a few believers, some from Iran, some from Egypt, and one German couple. They welcomed me with tears and hugs. They didn't care that I was once a Muslim imam. They didn't care about my past. They just loved me. We worshiped together. Not with rituals, not with rules, but with hearts wide open. We sang songs to Jesus, some in Arabic, some in Farsi, some in German. I didn't know the words, but I wept the entire time. Jesus was there. And then I was baptized. They took me to a small river outside the city. It was cold. I stood in the water, shivering. The man who baptized me held my hand and asked, "Do you believe that Jesus is the Son of God, and that he died and rose again for you?" I said, "Yes, with all my heart." He dipped me into the water and pulled me out. I felt like I had been born again, truly, fully. From that day, I became a new man. Not perfect, but new. The old Rashid died. The new one came to life. But the challenges didn't stop. Soon, Muslim leaders in the region heard I was still preaching, this time not Islam but Jesus. They sent spies. They threatened the church. One night, someone slashed the tires of the pastor's car. A note was left on the windshield, "Stop or die." They told me to leave the church, to disappear. But how could I? How could I keep silent after what I had seen? I had seen hell. I had seen the fire. I had seen millions of Muslims screaming for help, but no one came. I had seen my own father, yes, my father, standing in that fire, crying, "Rashid, why didn't you tell me the truth?" That vision haunted me every night. I could not stay silent. So I began recording videos, just short messages in Arabic. I didn't show my face, just my voice. I shared the truth about what I had seen, about how I met Jesus, about how I was shown that no Muslim would enter heaven apart from him. First, no one noticed, but then one video went viral. It spread like wildfire through Arabic-speaking communities. Millions of views, thousands of comments. Some people called me mad. Some begged for more. Some threatened to hunt me down and kill me. Then one night, a message came that shook me. It was from a young man in Egypt. He wrote, "Imam Rashid, I watched your video in secret. I was ready to kill myself. I had no hope. But after hearing your story, I gave my life to Jesus. I want to know him more. Please pray for me." I broke down crying. It was worth it. All the pain, all the loss, all the fear. It was worth it for one soul to find the truth. But the fight wasn't over. A week later, our small house church was raided. Some were arrested. Others escaped. I wasn't there that night. I had been led by the Spirit to stay away. But after that, I had to go underground fully. I moved again, changed my name, and lived in hiding. But I kept sharing. I used encrypted apps, secret groups. I sent audio messages to seekers. One night, Jesus appeared to me again in a dream. He stood before me, shining in light, and said, "Do not fear those who can kill the body. I am with you, and I have more work for you to do." That gave me strength. But I didn't realize what was coming next. A twist I never expected. Someone from my past, someone I never thought would find me, suddenly appeared. It was my older brother. He had come all the way from Syria, and he didn't come to talk. He came to kill me. I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw him. My older brother, Jamal. We had not spoken in over a year, not since I left Islam and began publicly testifying about Jesus. He stood in front of me on that cold, rainy evening outside the small church shelter where I had been sleeping. His face was hard, his eyes full of fire. I stepped back, stunned. "Jamal," I whispered. He said nothing, just stared at me. Then he pulled out a knife from inside his coat. My heart dropped. He came closer. "You have brought shame to our family," he growled in Arabic. "You are dead to us. I've come to finish it." I couldn't speak. My throat closed. I had once trained him in the Quran, taught him how to lead Friday prayers, how to give sermons. We were once inseparable. Now he wanted to kill me. But in that moment, something strange happened. Instead of fear, peace fell over me. A peace that made no sense. I looked into his angry eyes and said, "Jamal, before you kill me, let me tell you one thing." He raised the knife higher, but I continued, my voice calm. "I saw hell, Jamal. I saw what awaits those who reject the Son of God. I saw Baba there. I heard his voice. He screamed our names. He begged for someone to tell the truth." Jamal froze. His hand trembled slightly. "I saw millions of Muslims in fire, burning, weeping, tormented. And Jesus, he wept too. He wept because he died for them, but they rejected him. Jamal, please listen to me. Jesus is not just a prophet. He is the way out." He didn't speak. He just stared at me. The rain poured down heavier. "You want to kill me, I understand. But after you do, my blood will cry out to God that I told you the truth. And Jesus will still love you." He began to cry. His lips shook. The knife dropped from his hand. He fell to his knees. "What did you see in hell?" he whispered. Tell me everything." So I sat beside him under that storm, right on the wet pavement, and told him everything. The moment Jesus took my hand and led me into the depths of eternal torment. The moment I saw the flames leap like living creatures, screaming with the voices of the damned. The air was full of agony. Demons tore at souls like hungry dogs. Darkness was alive, pressing on every side. The smell was worse than anything I can explain. Burnt flesh, sulfur, hopelessness. You can smell hopelessness there. It stinks like blood mixed with regret. And in the center of the fire were Muslims, imams, Quran memorizers, faithful Hajj goers, women in black hijabs, men with long beards, and I heard their screams. Why didn't anyone tell us? We prayed 5 times a day. We fasted. We gave zakat. We went to Hajj. We thought we were right. Where is Muhammad? Where is our intercessor? I saw fire consuming their bodies, but they never died. I saw snakes crawl into their mouths. Worms came out of their eyes. Some were chained to burning stones. Others were dragged by creatures with eyes like burning coals and claws like iron. Then, I saw my father. He was in a pit, hands stretched upward. "Rashid," he cried, "you knew the truth. Why didn't you tell me sooner?" I collapsed in tears beside Jesus. That was the moment he said, "This is not your time, but I brought you here to see what awaits those who reject me." He wept as he said it, because he loved them. Even in their rebellion, he loved them. Then he pointed away from the fire and said, "Now go back. Tell them I am the way, the truth, and the life. That's why I'm alive today." When I finished telling my brother all this, he sobbed like a child. That night, we both knelt on the ground, and he whispered the most powerful words I've ever heard from his lips. "Jesus, I believe in you. Forgive me. I receive you." We embraced and cried for a long time. That night, my brother, who had come to kill me, was reborn. He later told me that after I disappeared, he was tormented by dreams. He saw me in a white robe, glowing. He saw fire. He heard our father screaming. He was afraid. When he learned I was alive and preaching Jesus, he felt he had to silence me. But now he knew the truth. Over the next few months, we hid together in a safe house. My brother began reading the Bible like a hungry man. His life changed. He was not angry anymore. He laughed. He even started sharing Jesus quietly with other Muslim friends. One day, a friend of ours from Turkey contacted me. She had been a strict Muslim but had secretly watched my testimony video. She said, "I don't know who you are, but I saw Jesus in my dream after watching your story." She too became a believer. More people came. A former Algerian imam, a Moroccan woman, a Lebanese sheikh. One by one, Jesus was revealing himself to Muslims across Europe and the Middle East. Persecution continued. One friend was arrested, another beaten. I myself was ambushed one day outside a grocery store. I was stabbed in the side. I bled badly. As I lay on the hospital bed, I thought, "This is it. I'm going home." But I didn't die. I lived, and I knew why. Jesus still wanted me to speak. So today I speak, not as a preacher, not as a perfect man, but as a witness. I was a Muslim imam. I was faithful to Islam. I loved the Quran. I honored Muhammad. But I died, and in death I saw the truth. There is no salvation outside Jesus. He is not one of the ways. He is the only way. I beg you, my Muslim brothers and sisters, please listen. It's not about religion. It's not about pride. It's not about culture or shame. It's about eternity. You can fast. You can pray. You can give zakat. You can even die a martyr. But if you reject Jesus as Lord and Savior, you will not escape the fire. I saw it. I walked in it. And I would give my life again and again for just one soul to be saved. Jesus is calling you, not to punish you, but to save you. Even now, he knocks at the door of your heart. Please, don't wait until it's too late.